Hey everyone, welcome to the C&J Art, Adventure, and Family channel. So this is another weekly update. So this week between the 18th and the 26th, we had Nico's birthday. It was just a small group here in our house, like 5 of his closest friends, and some of the parents and so forth, his grandmother and mother. Partly because he's getting older, and also it's much cheaper instead of renting out a party place like we did last year. We just bought some decorations and some food and some small gifts for his friends, and so it was much more manageable, much more affordable. And it also forced us to clean the entire house. And it was really nice to see this entire house cleaned up for once, because we tend to live in a state of semi-chaos, I hate to say, because we are just so busy, and this place gets messed up so quickly because, you know, when you live in a small space, it gets messy more quickly. It's small by US standards, but just big enough for the 3 of us, and for a small party, it was perfect. Just absolutely perfect. The kids could play video games in front of the TV while the adults sat on the patio, drinking and talking. And then towards the end of the party, Nico blew out the candles on his chocolate torta, as is traditional here. And he got a lot of really nice gifts. And he was also able to go to a concert of his favorite band, Imagine Dragons, courtesy of his grandparents. So he had a really good birthday week. And I've also been working a lot. As I said, that's why we tend not to fully clean every week. I know I should, but I just don't. I work 9 to 10 hours per day, so I just don't have the time. But I love my work. I've been making really good progress on my current book project, and I am so grateful that my client is open to my experimenting with traditional materials, because usually I create all my illustrations digitally, but I have been dying to use colored pencils and watercolors, and now I finally get the chance. And so it has been a lot of fun, but also just a lot of work. And yeah, sometimes I get really exhausted and grumpy. Like earlier this week, I was just feeling really grumpy and unhappy, and I couldn't put my finger on why. I mean, partly I did know why. I was just mentally and physically tired. I needed a break. I needed to get out of the house, because otherwise my life is really good now. I have no complaints about my life these days. I'm very happy in my marriage, very happy in my work, very happy in my family life. I love my comfy little home. I love working at my desk with all my toys and artwork all around me. It's my artistic sanctuary, and I love starting work really early in the morning with my cup of coffee and just slowly getting into the day. And yeah, all that. But I do need a break every now and then. And so on Thursday, since my husband and stepson would be out of the house during the evening going to the Imagine Dragons concert, I went out to enjoy a day with my friend Andy. And as usual, I left the house earlier so that I would be able to do a few things before I needed to meet up with her. And the first thing I wanted to do was go to la Museo de Casa Rosada. Hey everyone, I am in front of la Casa Rosada. It is a few days away from another election, and so I wanted to go here and see what was going on, and maybe go to one of the museums here. I have to say, this election feels as important, if not perhaps more so, than the last election, the presidential election. everyone, I can just feel it. Everyone is holding their breath. It's quite amazing. Also very stressful. I wonder if we would be able to take a tour here. I have already taken the tour, and I don't remember if I had to pay for it or not. I think I did, and so I don't want to do that. I don't want to pay for it again. But it would be really interesting to go in there today of all days, or this week of all weeks is what I mean to say. Well, first let me go to the museum over here. I went to this museum a few months ago, so quite recently, and I'm just curious to see if they have anything on display in honor or because of the elections in a few days. What is that for? Is it for yesterday or for something coming up? Never really know here. As I've said before, one thing about Argentina is things can change here really suddenly, like overnight. And so I've learned to brace myself for the worst, the same as my husband does automatically. I don't do that to the extent he does, of course. I tend to be much more positive or optimistic about what will probably happen. But sorry if there's any wind noise. I didn't bring my little cat thingy. And then after this museum, I want to go to the Museum of the Revolution. I forget what it's called. But anyway, let's go to Museo Casa Rosada. So I am inside the museum now, and I'm not seeing anything new. Except this over here. Looks like they finished this. Okay, what is this? They would have something here about the elections. That would have been nice. Here, through the glass floors, you can see some of the original construction. Wow, I wonder what these were. Oh my goodness. It's even less than the last time we went here. Algo sobre la guerra de los 80s. Para las Malvinas, where the Falklands War. It's very interesting to see this war from the side of the Argentinians. Coming from the US, I always had the impression that it was a very quick war, that not many people were killed. And That's when Prince Andrew was a war hero. I've been watching the news every day for months now, partly to practice my Spanish and partly to just try to understand more what's going on here in this country. One thing that has always kind of bewildered me is the politics, the logic of the politics here. I would have said there is no logic to it, but that's not true. Like, I used to equate the Peronists to the Democrats in the US and Macri and Milei's party, PRO or La Libertad Avanza, as the Republicans. But that, you can't equate them one to one. It's way more complicated than that. And even more complicated are the supporters of each party. Oh God. One last look. I have been here hundreds of times, it feels like, but it still strikes me as so beautiful every time I arrive here. So gorgeous. I love that. So, well, pardon me for looking like a mess. I'm sweating like anything. Oh my God. Today is the first hot day of spring. It's been in the teens or 60s for people in the US, and I'm just not used to it. So anyway, I have been watching the news every single day to try to understand. Oh, what is going on? What is this? Oh my goodness, is this the Plaza, the Madres de Plaza de Mayo?
¡Ay, palito moderado!
María Hilda. Presente. Pérez Ameri María Sol. Presente. Pérez Irta Irene. Presente. Pérez Eugenio Carlos. Presente.
Remarkably peaceful march, I must say. I don't think those police vans are here for these people, I would hope. I've known about this march for a while, but I've never gone. I wanted to go for a while, but you know, it's just hard to get here with work and other things to do. I'm really glad I finally made it. Thank God these people are keeping the memory of this alive, the memory of the 30,000 disappeared. I think it was 30,000. I'll check on that number. Yeah. Okay, I better get out of these people's way. And so in the 1970s there was a dictatorship. The Peronist government was overthrown by the military with the help of the US, unfortunately, and it was pretty bloody. They disappeared anyone who disagreed with them, and the end of the dictatorship did not come until 1982 with the war over Las Malvinas, or the Falklands War. And now there are people trying to rewrite history, saying that all these people who were disappeared without due process, by the way, were all terrorists of the state, and that the ones who disappeared them, the military and the police forces, were just protecting Argentina, which I have to say is complete and total nonsense. I mean, these people were disappeared without any due process, without any trial, without even their families knowing what happened to them. That they were just taken, tortured, and then disappeared. Most likely thrown over the river in a plane. And in my opinion, that is not defending democracy. That is not defending your country. That is just being a bloody dictatorship. So I think it's a really good thing that these people continue to do this every Thursday. Anyway, okay, now I'm in the Museo de la Revolución, or Museo de Cabildo. This is the first room on the right, and as you can see, yes, Argentina did have slaves from Africa, and most of them were killed in the fight for independence if I remember correctly, they were sent to the front lines, so most of them were killed, and that's why there are not many African Argentinians today. Because they were all killed off. So, yeah, there's a ton of school groups in here today. So it might be hard to film. Yeah, it's really loud in here. I'm gonna go to another. So this is the second floor. And let's see. Anyway, okay, as I was saying, I have been watching the news non-stop. La Nación, TN, El Destape, Gelatina, A24, and so on and so forth. And I just wanted to understand the logic between the supporters of each party, especially the most vitriolic ones, between the Peronists or Kirchnerists and the Libertarians. And I can sum it up by saying that both sides really want something better for their country. Both sides really want a better, more prosperous Argentina. But the thing is, they disagree very strongly on how to achieve that. So I'm going to sum up what I understand is what the Peronists or Kirchnerists believe. I guess you would call it what they believe is a social democracy, where you take care of the most vulnerable, the disabled, the elderly, your children. But you also believe in capitalism, but not a capitalism that takes advantage of your country, like a outside corporation coming in and just destroying everything and then leaving. Excuse me. They want, like, oh God, sorry, it's really loud out here. So what they want is like okay, so what they want is fairness, you know, to take care of everyone and to increase the prosperity of the country through wise development. Through wise development and capitalism, let's say. So that's what I understand it to be. Libertarians, on the other hand, let me show you what I'm looking at. Libertarians, on the other hand, believe solely in capitalism without taking care of the weak and vulnerable. Because for them, they blame socialism, the Peronist kind of socialism. The Peronist and Kirchnerist kind of socialism or Peronism for destroying the country, where you have to always give out so much money for, as they would say, people who are not producing anything, like giving money to the elderly, to the handicapped or disabled. For them, that would be a waste of money. And I know that sounds pretty cold-hearted, and but they would say it's because that kind of socialism is keeping back true capitalism in this country, true development, that this country is handicapped or shackled to the idea of socialism, and so it can never truly develop because it has to take care of people who they would argue do not contribute, like people who do not like to work, along with the elderly and children. So that's what I understand it to be. What am I looking at? Cabildo abierto de 22 de mayo de 10,010. This is a painting depicting 1810 with, I think, the formation of the first government here in Buenos Aires, Argentina. And let me just say that I do have more empathy, or my leanings are more towards Peronism, but I am a foreigner here. I do have a DNI. I am a resident. I'm married to an Argentinian, and so I will be able to vote in the next elections. Not this one, unfortunately, but the very next one. And so, getting back to the libertarians, they would say that what they want is for everyone to do better, but no one can do better without getting rid of the shackles of socialism, or they would probably call it communism, which it definitely is not. Look at this gorgeous view. And I understand that logic. It does make sense, but it's a lot like I've been trying to understand what the policies of the libertarians are, what they do, and why they do it. And it occurred to me recently that what they are doing is basically Reaganomics, or trickle-down economics from the 80s, or Thatcherism, which on the face of it sounds good, but in practice, the problem is it throws a lot of people under the bus, like a lot of people, the most vulnerable. Unless you are strong enough to survive in that kind of economy, there's no safety net for you. And so I assume libertarians would say, well, so be it. That's just how it should be. That's fair. But the thing is, in practice, from what I have seen, the way it has been practiced here in Argentina, it's not fair. Because you have basically because you have the 1% of Argentina deciding the policies for the rest of us. And they are creating policies that basically benefit themselves, in my opinion. And I think the proof of that is with the bailouts from the IMF and the US. I don't see how those bailouts benefit the people here at all. Also, that money is not going to trickle down to the rest of the people. It's basically going to benefit JP Morgan and the friends of JP Morgan, like Caputo.
Lo hacen solos, sin la ayuda de la corona, por más que sean españoles, no es que vinieron los españoles de España y dijeron, vamos, no viene un general español y dice, hagan esto para esto.
La prensa. I must say, la prensa de Argentina, some of them leave a lot to be desired because there is a lot of misdirection and outright deceiving in the press here. I guess that's a matter of opinion. Maybe depending on what side you are, you're gonna think the other side is lying. One side or the other is lying. That's why I try to watch like both conservative and more progressive kinds of news, because then you can get a more complete picture of what one side is leaving out and what the other side is pushing, what narrative I mean. A lot of really nice things, but like I would love to get a t-shirt or maybe a little print, but these days the only thing most people are willing to pay money for are necessities, mainly like food or school supplies, stuff like that. So in a nutshell, let me get back to the difference between libertarianism and Peronism. From what I could tell, Peronism wants to take care of everyone. It doesn't want anyone to be left behind, while also believing in capitalism like most other normal political parties aside from communism. And one thing about Trump said that if Milei loses, Argentina will fall to communism. That is an outright lie. Argentina has never been communist. There is a communist party here. They never win. And if he's trying to say that Peronism is equal to communism, it's simply not true. Unless you want to say any party that wants to take care of the vulnerable is basically communist, which is stupid. Oops. Or deliberately misleading. Oh, there it is. Artística Raigo. I just finished with the art store. I got a few pencils for my friend's birthday. And now I'm walking over there. I also got some tape. Pichin bar. I think that's what it says. But anyway, how gorgeous is this corner. Anyway, I should get going. Yeah, I was gonna say I wanted to get more at the art store. I really wanted to get some paper, but luckily they didn't have the size I wanted, so I didn't get anything. Yeah, days before the election. I don't think my husband would be happy to know I splurged on art supplies again. Here I am on, I think, what is the widest street of the world? Or it was the widest street in the world. 9 de Julio. Over there is the obelisco. And on this side, Evita. That looks like Don Quixote. I'm not sure if that is, but I would say it's very fitting. very fitting for Argentina, considering the politics here. And the two opposing forces of libertarianism and Peronism. I think the problem is there was a time when in Peronism where there was a lot of violence. There was very far out there factions of Peronism that were very violent. And conservatives have not forgotten that. But now it seems like things have turned around and it's the libertarians, the conservatives who are violent, both in speech. Wow, look at that building. In speech, with just a lot of insults and name calling all the time, and in action. I've just seen several clips over the past few weeks of libertarians resorting to violence to get their point across. During this election season. So I don't know, maybe I missed some clips on the conservative network showing violent Peronists. I don't know.
Una noche pensando en ti, espero que todo esté bien. Mirando al cielo and I hope you're doing the same. Fumo un poco para tratar de sacarte de mi mente. Bien difícil falling in love with you cause you made it look so easy. Pensando que me necesitabas y lo permití. Beber un poco para tratar de borrarte de mi mente. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, cómodo. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más sin ti. Te lo juro, nunca te busco ni en los días más oscuros. Y baby, valió la pena en estos momentos duros. Mi corazón no puede más y mis ojos no podían ver la verdad frente a mí, baby, ya, baby, ya. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, cómodo. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más. Me salvaste, me amaste y al mismo tiempo arrepentimiento, baby, te boté permanente. Me salvaste, me amaste y al mismo tiempo arrepentimiento, baby, te boté permanente. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, cómodo. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, tranquilo. Una noche más, cómodo.
So here is the voting ballot that we use here. Look how many parties there are. Quite impressive. But of course, as in most countries, there's only two main parties. Here it's La Libertad Avanza and Fuerza Patria. The Libertarians versus the Peronists. And here, since you're using a paper ballot, you just put a check mark on the party you're voting for, then you fold the paper up and then put it in the urn. Easy peasy.
No, that one.
Yeah. Did you vote for Fuerza Patria? You don't have to tell me, but
Yeah.
well, I'm curious.
Yeah, for one of the categories, yeah.
Oh, good.